Dark Souls, but you can only play as broken enemies. Dark Souls is known for having some of the most unfair enemies in gaming. It's got skeletons that can shred you, dogs that can dodge everything, and knights that can snipe you from across the map. So today I'm going to be taking control of them and using them to try to beat the game. If I die, then I'll respawn as an even more unfair enemy, and this video will not end until I've defeated Gwen or run out of enemies to play as. And right now I'm playing as a dog. What's going on, guys? I finally remembered my YouTube password. We are currently inside the asylum right now, and my goal is simple. I need to beat the demon and escape this place, but we've got a pretty big problem. I'm currently LARPing as a dog, specifically the one outside of Calamete's arena, and we only have 200 HP, but the demon's got like 1,000. If I get hit by his hammer, then I'm pretty sure he'll break every bone in my body. I may be a dog, and I do like bones, but I like them more inside of my body.
What do you mean by that?
All right, let's see how this goes. My God, he doesn't even have a health bar. Oh, that was a close one. Okay, my strategy right now is simple. I'm just gonna hit and run and circle him and... Okay. This dog is pretty unfair, but does he have what it takes to rekindle the flame? Let's find out. All right, we made it to the Berg. It's time to go where no dog has ever gone before. First thing we need to do is take down the tourist demon. This little guy should have what it takes to make it there, but beating him is a completely different story though. He's got snipers outside the arena, and the bridge itself is super small, which means we won't have a lot of room to work with, but I do have a plan, and you'll see what it is when we get there. Trust me, it's a lot more fun if you don't know. By the way, I haven't done a giveaway in forever, so comment below which enemies you think are the most unfair. I'm gonna randomly send 3 people a Steam gift card. The only reason I'm able to do that is because of all of your support and this video's partner. The best part about these challenges is trying out different enemies as we progress through the game. But there's actually an entire genre out there built around this idea. These games are super easy to get into with an insane amount of depth, and the real fun comes from the constant progression you get as you unlock new characters and take on difficult fights. Raid Shadow Legends is a collection RPG where instead of playing as one hero, you build a team of champions, and every new pull can change your strategy completely, which is why so many people are hooked on this game. There's over 1,000 champions to collect, each one with the kind of detail you'd expect from a full-scale RPG, let alone a phone game. Between the campaign, dungeons, and PvP, there is so much content, and my favorite so far has to be the boss raids, because in this mode, timing your skills and gear is super important and matters so much more than just having strong champions. Shadowkin has been my go-to faction lately, and they hit way harder than they have any right to. On top of that, the whole game is cross-platform, meaning I can run it on my PC while I'm doing boss playthroughs in the background, and then pick it back up on my phone while I'm away. If you're a new player, then scan the QR code on screen or hit the first link in the description, because going through there unlocks stuff you literally can't get otherwise. You'll instantly get a legendary Karato Foxhunter from the Shadowkin faction, and once you hit level 15, you also get the epic Uugo, who's one of the most valuable champions in the entire game. New players also get to pick one of these 5 promo codes for yet another free legendary. That's BIGDAWG for Turvold, GETALICE for Alice the Wanderer, KITTYCUT for the Cheshire Cat, GOFAST for Razzlevarg, or Wrath for Grand Oak Padraig. You only get to pick one, so choose wisely. I grabbed BIGDAWG because Turvold absolutely shreds early game, and it makes the campaign so much faster. Just remember though, you have to download it with my link or scan my QR code within 48 hours of clicking, otherwise none of this stuff will show up. Come find me in game under Amazing Chest and join my clan Moog Did Nothing Wrong so we can tackle the clan boss mode together. Thanks to Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring this video. Okay, so we made it out of the asylum. That was our first goal. The undead Berg could go either way, could go south really fast. Pretty much everything can one-shot us, but I can also one-shot them too. If you guys have dogs at home, have they ever opened your door before? It's like the creepiest thing ever. Now, obviously you aren't supposed to play through the game as an enemy, so I will have to skip some areas. I will do my best to make it through wherever we can. So the plan for this one was to hit and run using my small size to squeeze past his legs. While he's turning around, I could hit him and then back hop if I ever got in trouble. I forgot to take out the archers before challenging him, but that's okay because they don't really do much damage anyway. Eventually, I landed a huge hit on the demon, and then with the dog dead, that brings us down to 10 enemies. If we lose the rest of these guys, then the run is over. Introducing Julian. Julian the skeleton. Julian is pretty unfair, but does he have what it takes to rekindle the flame? Yes. Yes, he does. All right, the new plan is simple. We are down to 10 enemies and Julian is way too good to lose before the gargoyles. All we have to do is survive the Hellkite Bridge and get to the bell tower in one piece. Moment of truth. Jesus Christ, that was so close. Okay, we are almost to the gargoyles. His rolling attack is gonna destroy them, just like that guy. A little bit of skeleton ASMR. We are almost to the gargoyles. This fight can go either really well or really, really bad. When this one started, I didn't waste any time at all and rolled straight into the gargoyle for half his HP. I had to roll away to avoid his halberd, but after coming back in for the kill, the gargoyle went down. When the second one came in at half HP, I rolled in to finish the job and got caught in his flames. Up next was the Torch Hollow, and I spawned him in the same arena right after Julian died. I know he doesn't look like much, but this guy is a walking war crime. The tracking on his swing is completely busted, and his fire damage melts right through your shield. On top of that, he always shows up in the worst places, and his body count is higher than Fia's. If I wasn't careful, then one clean fire breath would end me the same way it did Julian. My only chance of winning this fight was to find an opening for the torch. I dodged the first fire breath to avoid another one shot, jumped past the second, and when I finally got that opening, I took it. With enough luck, and as long as they didn't resist fire, this Torch Hollow could get past anything. We made it to Blighttown. This Hollow has a few tricks up his sleeve, but none of them are gonna take on these two ogres. I'm running straight past them. KITTYCUT is an S tier boss in these runs. She has a ton of health, she's fast, she hits hard, and she's also really hot. She can spit lava. She will absolutely destroy this Hollow if she gets her hands on us, so we have to be careful. About halfway through Blighttown, our torch suddenly went out and then never lit up again, which was kind of awkward. Stuck in the dark, we jump again to skip the poison swamp and somehow make it a KITTYCUT in one piece. As it turns out though, our torch does mostly fire damage, and KITTYCUT can't be hurt by fire. We, on the other hand, can. Up next was the Rolling Cat. I'd be surprised if most of you knew about this next one. This rare enemy only appears at one spot in the entire game, and for good reason too. It's completely broken. On the side path of Sif's arena are 3 rolling cats, and they all look like Alvina, but they're much more deadly because there's 3 of them. And they all have this rolling attack with insane tracking in an area where the environment is actively trying to kill you. With this much speed, the cats can easily outrun players, and if we keep moving, then KITTYCUT can't touch us. Our damage per hit isn't great, but it doesn't really matter if she can't hit us in return. I got to her side easily before chomping at her spider parts and then running away before coming back in with the rolling attack. After doing that over and over again, KITTYCUT eventually fell. With both bells of awakening awakened, the gate to Sin's fortress was finally open. So far, the Rolling Cat was the MVP of this run, which is a sentence I never thought I'd say out loud. Now we just needed to beat the Iron Golem so we could get into Anor Londo, but first we had to survive Sin's fortress. For what she was able to get through, Alice did pretty well. Her speed avoided most of the traps, but her size made it impossible to navigate most of this area. That means I couldn't kill the giant up top who's throwing pots in the boss fight, so this was not going to be easy. It was time to see if Alice could do the impossible. When this fight started, I dodged his wind attack and then started rolling in, but got stuck on the golem's legs. He hit us back with a 400 damage swing, then a second one for 350. With only about a third of our health remaining, I retreated back to the middle of the platform because it gave us more room. I dodged another wind attack and started chipping away at him, but then the fire pots made it really hard to move around. Just like that, the cat was gone. Skeletor is an enemy you probably weren't expecting to find on this list, but trust me, he has every right to be here. You can find him in the Tomb of Giants lurking in complete darkness, waiting for the perfect moment to Sparta kick you off of a ledge. And now he's our best chance at beating the Iron Golem. I picked this guy for 2 reasons. 1, he's human sized, and 2, he's a skeleton. The first reason meant I was able to fit through the doorway and make my way up to the rooftop where the giant was hiding. The fact that he's a skeleton means he'll resist attacks from the golem's axe, but he does have a major weakness that the golem could exploit. Hopefully he doesn't use it. I barely dodged the wind attack and tried to bait something else while waiting for him to come to the platform. My plan going into this was simple. If I was aggressive enough, then I could stack up enough poise damage to knock him over and win the fight. On top of that, despite his size, the skeleton is surprisingly mobile, and I was able to successfully dodge an attack, but after getting a few more hits in, the golem hit me with one of his only attacks that can do strike damage, and skeletons are extremely weak to it. With 2 enemies down, I decided to switch things up and sent in another skeleton. Yes, another skeleton. Only this one's the 4-legged guy you can find roaming the Tomb of Giants. He's on the unfair list for a very different reason, and you'll see exactly why in just a second. Jack is super fast, but he doesn't have much HP, and if he gets caught, he'll definitely die in one hit just like Skeletor did. After waiting for the golem to approach, I baited an attack, and this is exactly why he's on this list. This lunge combined with his speed and insane damage make him the perfect enemy for taking down the Iron Golem. After keeping the pressure up and staying under his swings, I was able to bring the golem to his knees using the original ankle biter. We are now in Anor Londo. That biting attack is one of the worst designed attacks in Dark Souls. It's 4 high damage hits in a row that destroy shields and max figure players alike. And with the Iron Golem out of the way, it was time to see if we could use it to take down Ornstein and Smo. I made my way through the rafters and headed for the cathedral where the channel's namesake was waiting for me. Ornstein and Smo have ended more of these runs than any other boss fight in the game. But if I could isolate them and time it perfectly, then my 4-hit combo should be able to take out Ornstein. From there, I could focus on Smo, using my size and speed to avoid getting hit. On the way to the cathedral, I tested the combo on the Painting Guardians. It was working way better than I'd hoped, but because we're so squishy, we were getting hurt. So I grabbed the Dark Moon Tomb bonfire and rode the elevator back up. After killing a gargoyle outside and the sentinels inside the cathedral, it was finally time to take on the duo. I dodged Ornstein's opening charge with a lunge, but he clipped me with a lightning spear for half my HP. I interrupted his spear thrust, dodged Smo's hammer slam that I heard coming off screen, and then moved in to finish Ornstein. That's when Smo turned me into dust before I could finish the combo. This one was close, but now it was time to send in someone who has actually lived in Anor Londo. According to this user, the first 2 Silver Knights you encounter are the most evil things in the entire game, and they are absolutely correct. These guys are on this list because their arrows go right through your shield, their aim is literally perfect, and one bad dodge sends you off a cliff for one of the longest runbacks in Dark Souls. They've been ruining Anor Londo for new players since 2011, and as they say, you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become a villain. I picked him because he had something the Skeleton Beast did not, and that's a shield. As long as I could keep blocking, then I should be fine, but the risky part was going to be phase 2. If Super Smo caught me with his charge, then my guard would definitely break, and I'd be dead instantly. Right off the bat, Ornstein went for a very weird charge. I've never seen him do something like that before. After that, they both hit my shield at the exact same time, and despite guard breaking me, I got away without much trouble. I managed to lure Ornstein away from Smo, and when he charged again, I hit him with a combo that did over half his HP. This Silver Knight hits like a truck. Smo got stuck on the wall behind me, so I blocked Ornstein's counter and went for the kill. When phase 2 started, I was right behind Super Smo. If I stayed close enough, then he wouldn't charge me, so I stuck to him like glue. His great hammer broke my guard with every swing, but the damage was negligible, so I just kept going. I broke his poise just as he was about to jump, and from there kept the loop going over and over again until eventually Smo fell too. Imagine standing around in a castle forever defending the illusion of a goddess who left years ago. Couldn't be me. With the Lord Vessel secured, the next goal on our list was the 4 Lord Souls, specifically Nito. But to get to him, I had to make it through the catacombs and take down Pinwheel. The catacombs are full of traps and pointy things in the dark, but the Silver Knight shield made all of that pretty easy to handle. As for Pinwheel, well, he had no idea what I had in store for him. I nailed the catacombs parkour skip like a speedrunner and cut through most of the area. The Pit of Julians was up next, and trying to block these guys would definitely get me killed, so I ran each one into a wall and finished them while they were stuck. Pinwheel got the same treatment. The moment my first great arrow hit him, he got knocked into a corner, and the rest I had to censor so I wouldn't get demonetized. Now I had to make my way deeper into the tomb for my first Lord Soul. Nito is always a problem because of those respawning skeletons, shoutouts to Skeletor, and his absurd health pool. To make matters worse, his Gravelord dance can't be blocked by enemies, but the Silver Knight is still the Silver Knight though, so as long as his shield holds up, I should have a chance. I opened the fight by blindly firing great arrows, and I do mean blind since the arrows don't even render in this arena. Eventually, the skeletons got close enough to force me to switch weapons, but they all went down in one hit. When Nito got close, my Silver Knight sword tore through his health as well. Then I circled around to his side to dodge the big slam, clearing the next wave of skeletons while Nito recovered. The worst part about playing as an enemy in this area is the fact that it's so dark. Enemies just don't get that luxury of the inherent glow that players have, so it was kind of hard to tell what was going on. In fact, the footage you're watching right now is actually about 20% brighter than what it really was. One more round of skeletons later, Nito finally fell, and that was a really close fight. Now that I had the first soul, I stopped by the Firekeeper and entered the Duke's archives. My next goal was Seath the Scaleless, Gwen's former advisor and bearer of the second Lord Soul. This is where the run gets dicey though. The archives are a huge step up in difficulty, and the crystal enemies here hit ridiculously hard. The Silver Knight could probably survive if I took it one fight at a time, but there was a section I was really worried about, and you'll see which one that was in a few. For now, I only had 5 enemies left on my unfair roster, but I still needed 3 more Lord Souls to challenge Gwen. After entering the archives, I took cover and picked off the melee fighters one at a time. Once the archer was alone, I showed him who was boss, then rode the elevator up to Seath's audience chamber. Seath tried to curse me, but it didn't really work, so he just threw me in jail instead. After breaking out, I fought my way down to the alarm system and made my escape. I made it all the way to the Duke's gardens, but the path was blocked by a group of crystal golems, and this was the section I was worried about. Although they couldn't curse me, they still hit really hard, and with my HP already kinda low, they finished me off in just a few swings. The Silver Knight had taken out 3 bosses on his own, and he was going straight into S tier, but now it was time for someone with a little more firepower. I tagged in the Uugo Sorceress next, and you already know exactly why she's on this list. She is the perfect glass cannon, super fragile, but her dark bead does insane damage, and according to this user on Reddit, whoever put those sorcerers together in Uugo needs to be out of a job. She's actually perfect for this fight though. Because Seath doesn't move much, I can easily stay in range, but if I'm not able to kill him fast enough, then his nuke will kill me. I crossed the invisible bridge and took out every clam in the area so none of them could follow me into the boss room. When Seath finally showed up, I waited for him to get close, then broke his immortality crystal. While he was stunned, I jogged over and started casting Dark Bead, and because his motto is so big, every single hitbox connected. Half his health was gone in just a few spells. He started firing lasers out of desperation, but I was too close for them to hit me, and that's when he started charging up the nuke. If I had killed him just a second later, that explosion would have wiped me out, but luckily Seath went down, and I had my second Lord Soul. The Crystal Cave was cleared and the Sorceress was still standing. Next stop was the Dark Root Garden, and we had to defeat Sif. With 2 of 4 Lord Souls collected, the next 2 were the 4 Kings in the Bed of Chaos. I picked the 4 Kings first because there was only 1 enemy left on our roster who stood a chance in Lost Isolate. Before I could face the Kings though, I needed the Covenant of Artorias so that we could walk the Abyss. Sif is really fast and the Sorceress couldn't take a single hit, so this was not looking good. Sif immediately charged at me, but I perfectly timed a dodge and was able to iframe the sword and got off a Dark Bead. Another cast nearly finished Sif, and then, wow, that was fast. 3 enemies left, and I needed someone who could actually take a hit, so I sent in the Titanite Demon next. You can find this guy guarding early game stairways with a health bar bigger than most bosses, hitboxes that clip through walls, and tracking that just doesn't miss. To quote this poor soul, fighting him feels like doing an SL1 DS2 run with 6 ADP. Damn. The fun doesn't stop there though. The Titanite Demon swings hit with both his pole and his tail, which makes him really hard to roll through and basically doubles his damage. On top of that, his jump attack has a full body hitbox and deals extremely high physical damage. It was time to put down the family dog. Sif managed to break my low poise, but my stone skin blocked most of the damage. After one more jump and a few more swings, the best boy was no more, and the path to the 4 Kings was finally open. New Londo didn't worry me at all as a Titanite Demon. Nothing in here could even put a dent in my defenses, so I walked around like I owned the place. My plan for the next fight was simple. The King's sword handles only do chip damage, so as long as I stayed close, the trade would always be in my favor. And if 2 or 3 Kings stacked up, then even my defenses could struggle. For some reason, Ingrid refused to give me the key to the seal, so I had to use some aggressive negotiations. From there, I body slammed the slug horde, descended into the drowned ruins, and took out the dark wraiths on the way down. When the first king spawned, I greeted him with a jump attack that did almost 2,000 damage. His sword handle chipped me for 35. The Titanite Demon has attacks where he can hold the base of his pole to extend his reach, and this actually helped a lot when it came to keeping up with the king's range. This fight was super quick. The third one went down in just 3 attacks, and the last one fell to a body slam. Now there was only 1 Lord Soul left, and the path to it ran through the demon ruins. Before I could access the lower half, I needed to take out Ceaseless, and the cheese doesn't always work when you're playing as an enemy, so we were gonna have to do this the old-fashioned way. I jumped over to his sister's corpse, stole the clothes off of her charred body, and pissed him off. I turned around way too slowly and caught the tip of his tentacle as it pulled back. The second time around, I took a hit, but I also hit him at the same time, and the damage was absurd. Because of his size and our ridiculous hitboxes, he was getting hit twice, once by the pole, and once by the tail. With the lava pool cleared, I could finally access the lower ruins. We were now in the final stretch of this run, and only 3 bosses stood between me and Gwen. This wasn't the enemy I had in mind for Lost Isolith though, and if I did happen to die, then I'll have no choice but to switch to him. I jumped across the ruins, hunting demons left and right. Even the lesser Taurus demon got one shot. The demon Fire Sage didn't do much better. He did pack a punch, but his defenses couldn't really hold up against the Titanite demon's overpowered hitboxes. Up until this point, I couldn't really use my lightning attack, but now that I was in my native area, I could actually use it now. Against the Centipede demon, I learned from my last run and immediately went over to the little platform on the right side of the arena. That stopped the Centipede from camping me in the lava, and I sniped him with lightning as he closed in. He hit me hard for 700 damage with his stretchy limbs, but as soon as he was in range, I hit back much harder. Eventually, the Centipede demon went down, but unfortunately, I did not survive the aftermath and burned to death on my way back to the bonfire. Regardless, the Titanite demon did really well, and he's definitely going in A tier. The next enemy on my list was the Bed of Chaos. No, I'm kidding. Imagine. Introducing the Black Knight. This enemy is on the list because he has late game stats in early game areas, and even the wiki tells you to push him off of a cliff instead of fighting him. These are former Silver Knights whose armor was burned when Gwen kindled the first flame. They can do everything Silver Knights can, but better, except for using great bows. The Black Knights were also trained to fight in the Great Demon War, so they were literally made for this. Most importantly, they should also be small enough to actually fit inside the Bed of Chaos, but only time would tell. If they weren't good enough already, their weapons deal bonus damage to demons, and combined with their fire resistance, fighting through Lost Isolith wasn't a problem at all. I made it to the Bed of Chaos in no time. My Ultra Great Sword destroyed the branches, and with that, a third of the puzzle was completed. I carefully navigated the crumbling tiles, and somehow survived long enough to destroy the second route. From there, I dropped down onto the central branch, crossed my fingers, and hoped I could fit. Luckily I did, and after killing the bug inside, the final Lord Soul was ours. Now that I had all 4 souls, I went back to the kiln and got ready to fight my master. This fight was going to be a risky one. I'm super resistant to fire, but I can't parry Gwen as a Black Knight, which is actually one of the best ways to beat him. On top of that, I had to survive a gauntlet of my peers first, and any damage I took along the way would weaken me for the boss fight. The Greatsword Black Knight couldn't get through my shield, and my space program uppercut sent him flying. When I reached my twin though, he flinched me immediately and took about a third of my health. I did manage to win this fight, but the damage was already done, and to make matters worse, I got really unlucky, and the other knight dead angled my shield for another big hit. As is tradition, I baited the Great Axe one to fall off the ledge, and then it was time for Gwen himself. His opening jump attack broke my guard, and considering how hurt I was, Gwen made short work of his not so loyal knight. With only one enemy left, it was time for the most unfair, broken enemy of them all. This chained prisoner is a unique mini-boss in the Artorias DLC, but his Gravelorded version spawns multiple times in the Abyss, and it's even stronger, easily one-shotting New Game Plus players. During the run back to Gwen's arena, I stat-checked all of the Black Knights, either killing them or charging straight through them. As for Gwen himself, he couldn't really do anything as I face-tanked him with my ridiculous stats, slamming him over and over again with every swing of my rock. It was the equivalent of losing to a boss and then leaving the farm souls for like a week. Gwen was so outmatched that he tried to run away, but I backed him into a corner and just bullied him, earning the chained prisoner the #1 spot on my unfair tier list. To quote this user specifically, F this guy. Anyway, that's all for this one. Don't forget to use my Raid Shadow Legends link in the description or scan my QR code to get insane bonuses for new players with 2 epic champions. Thanks again to Raid for sponsoring this video.